I want to welcome Walt Zalisko, running for District 7 in the Estero Village Council race. Thank you for joining the Daily News editorial board.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
If you could, Walt, take the first couple of minutes here and sort of introduce yourself to voters and tell them a little bit about your background and how long you've been in Estero.
Well, I've been in Estero since 2011. I've been a full-time Florida resident since 2004. At that time, I had retired from Jersey City, New Jersey Police Department as a lieutenant and a division commander. I've spent 30 years with the Jersey City Police, and upon my retirement, I took a police chief's position here in Florida, and I stayed there for 2 years until going into the corporate world. And I worked as a corporate director for a Fortune 400 company. It was a New York company, but my office was in Miami. And during that time, I had opened up a private investigation business doing international and national investigations and security consulting. I live in Estero with my wife. She's a retired attorney. We have one daughter who's 34 years old and currently stationed in London, England with her job. One of the reasons why I'm running for Estero Council is because when I moved to Estero, I fell in love with the town, and I said, I want to keep Estero the way I know it, the way I have envisioned it when I moved here. And I think that I want to preserve the quality of life and to make a difference for this town, basically. I have the experience. Overall, I have 37 years of government experience in making communities better. I served as a co-chairman on a governor's transition task force in New Jersey. I served on state, local, county, regulatory boards, making decisions. It's going to be a challenging effort for this new town, but I think I have the experience and I have the willpower, and I definitely have the commitment to make this community the best that it can possibly be. I want it to be known for a family-oriented and business-friendly community.
You mentioned in your literature, you mentioned a outsider perspective and a fresh perspective. Does that have to do with the fact that you've not lived here as long as some of the other candidates, or explain that a little bit?
Well, the reason for the outsider's perspective is, we've had a group, the ECCL, that has been kind of running the show here for the last few years. They've done a good job at what they've done, but I think it's important to inject some fresh new ideas and people into that decision-making process. And that's what I offer. I'm a fresh new face in the community, sort of say. And that's why people have been asking me to run. I said, Walt, you're going to provide a new perspective to this, a different approach maybe. You have experience in large cities, in large counties, so you can provide some valuable experience to this whole process.
You mentioned that you've been involved with local endeavors, local arts, sports. Can you describe a little bit about that?
Which sport?
It says
we
support our veterans groups, arts, local sports teams, and civic associations.
Well, we belong to our church. The sports teams, we support the Everblades hockey team. I was a former semi-pro hockey player, so I know the importance of keeping the team here. They're up for sale, and the arena is, and we need to make sure that they stay here. We have a tremendous amount of community support for them here, and that's the way I support them. Purchasing season tickets and going to their events, supporting their charitable contributions that they provide to the community.
In terms of some of the first tasks that the village council would face for them, what would you see right off the bat as the first thing that needs to be done?
The first term, or the first term of the...
In terms of, okay, the council has its meeting in March, what do you tackle right out of the gate?
Well, the first thing we need to tackle is to see who is going to serve as the mayor and vice mayor, to see which committee members are going to be put on which committee, oversight of certain committees. We're going to have to form certain committees, planning committee, for instance, and there's a number of other ones that are going to have to go hand in hand over the next few months. We're going to have to decide where our meetings are going to be, how we're going to communicate with the residents. I mean, there are so many different forms of communication that we can take advantage of now to get to different people. You know, we got the internet, we have the telephones, you know, the old newsletters and all. You know, we have a growing population in Estero, and we have to consider that segment of our population, how we're going to communicate with these individuals. A lot of them are senior citizens that don't have the opportunity to get out of the house. So we want to try to figure out which way we can communicate best with them, whether it's TV, and having our own TV station, the telephone, you know, like the reverse 911, you dial all these residents. And most importantly, I think it's important that every council member visits his constituents and, you know, learns what the issues are and relays the information to them. You know, it's not just that you're going to meet once or twice a month at City Hall and that's it. You know, it's important that you get out into your community and, you know, go talk with the people hand in hand. But for the first few months, the City Council is going to have its work cut out for itself. You know, we're going to have to purchase computers, paperwork, letterhead. We're going to have to select the city manager, city clerk. And it's going to be a time-consuming process, and it's going to be a full-time process at that.
You mentioned that city manager. What qualities will you be looking for in your first city manager?
Well, the city manager obviously is going to have a good business background. But most importantly, because we are a new village, my recommendation is that he or she have experience in Florida already, whether as a city manager or as a assistant city manager, because this is going to be a time where you can't make mistakes the first few months. We need somebody who's familiar with the laws, the governance, the sunshine laws, everything else that go hand in hand. Because, you know, I've said this 100 times, Florida government is quite different than New Jersey or Illinois government. And we need somebody who's very familiar with Florida governing.
You mentioned you had a couple of years in there where you were a police chief. Was that in Florida?
Yes.
How much time did it take for you to get acquainted with Florida laws when you came down here after being familiar with New Jersey's?
You know, I looked at it this way. If you're a cop once, you're a cop always. The only difference are the laws, and it's a matter of just reading up on them. You know, my orientation period was two weeks when I transferred over from New Jersey. As long as you were certified in one state, you had a 2-week orientation period. It's just minor stuff, qualifying with the weapon and stuff, and the laws. It's very easy to make that switch over.
What community were you the police chief in?
A small town south of Daytona, Oak Hill. Yeah, I've done, you know, as part of my business, I've done a lot of police management consulting nationwide. So I would go and speak to different police departments and kind of share best practices with them, draft some of the policies for them. We did a lot of executive search looking for police chiefs for their towns. So I got to see what other police departments, how they operated, and, you know, I brought a lot of the good ideas from those departments to my department. And the same thing should apply here. You know, we have Bonita Springs, you've got other towns that are around us. The city council needs to look at what successful programs those towns have and incorporate them into Estero's. They have to put aside any bad feelings they may have had in the past with each other, you know, but we have to work together with the county and with the other local municipalities.
Having been a police chief here and also in New Jersey, would you see that being something in the future for Estero, or do you see Estero staying with the sheriff's office?
Well, it's hard to say at this point. Right now, Sheriff Scott and his officers are providing a good service to us, and we would like to continue that, although I would like to see an additional police officer assigned to Estero. And there are a few other little things that I would like them to do, is to clearly mark on their patrol cars Village of Estero, because we have a lot of police deputies who drive through Estero, and it may give the impression that we're getting a lot of police here, but no, they're commuting from one town to another. But if we have Village of Estero printed on the bottom of the car, we know that vehicle is dedicated to Estero and he's here. And a lot of people don't realize the amount of money it takes to start up their own police department. I've done studies. We're talking $30–40 million, you know, between the building, the communication center, you know, then your pensions and everything, the salaries for the initial officers. You know, if Estero grows, you know, rapidly, it's an alternative that they may want to look into. You know, and you'd have to weigh the cost factors. It's costing us $2 million with the sheriff, and it's costing us, you know, $2.5 million to start our own. You want to see what you do. The benefits of having your own department is you have, you know, what you would say, your own identity. You have your own police department. They be more dedicated to the community policing concept rather than some county agency. But for the time being, I think we're being served well by the sheriff's office.
Benita pays